সবাই নিশ্চয়ই খুব ভালো আছেন। Everybody understand Bengali here? Anybody who doesn't understand? All right. Okay, so welcome to Purbayan's 10th year celebration. So we are doing this symposium for, we call Newcomer Symposium, we can call it Newcomers Meet and Greet, where you can openly listen to all our panelists and also question anything that you have in mind. So today's main topics would be like different things in Canada that we face as newcomers. So it comes from language barrier, finding a job, right way to get your kids educated or yourself, get newly educated to meet the Canadian standards and also mix in the Canadian market. 22 years ago, when I came for my engineering, we didn't have this kind of connection. So I was an international student, and we did have student council and everything, but we lacked this kind of connection. So it's great that Purbayan is arranging this event, and hopefully if you have any questions, and we have this distinguished panelists here, and they can definitely give you the answer. Before I pass on the mic to our moderator, I will introduce Monica Ganguly from Acces Employment. So she will going to talk a few things about newcomers, how they help the newcomers, or even people who have jobs, and maybe she will say a few things how they can their agency can assist with them. With that, I'll tell Monica to say a few things to everybody. Monica, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. I think this is the third year that I'm participating in this. It's a great place, and congratulations to Purbayan for doing this. People who come here, we are all immigrants here, and when you first come here, you're at a loss. You don't know where to go, who to talk to. And I know I was in that space myself 21 years ago, and I bumbled around for quite a few years before I found my niche, and I got around to doing what I'm doing today. To tell you about, I am an employment consultant. I work with Acces Employment. I've been with them for about 7.5 years. I've been in the industry of employment counseling for about 10 plus years now. My journey with Acces did not come that easily. I did bumble around, as I said. Then I did a course here, and course was the Career Work Counselor program with George Brown College, and then I joined Acces. To tell you about Acces, Acces has been around for about 35 years, and we've been helping job seekers, okay, be it whoever. Right now, Acces is a forerunner, is right on the top of the list of employment agencies or employment resource centers that help newcomers. When you Google employment agencies, you will get Acces first on Google. The way you spell Acces is ACCES. We have only one S. Acces helps newcomers. We give you a consultant. You can work one-on-one with a consultant who helps you find a job. We also have, in the recent few years, we have started programs called the bridging programs. I'm not sure if you've heard about those. We also have a pre-arrival program. So before you arrive in Canada, you can already access our services. They give you an idea of what it is like to be here in Canada, what it is like to work or look for work in your field in Canada. However, once you come to Canada, you get those same services physically with an employment consultant. We have programs for youth, programs for women, programs for most occupations. We have bridging programs for finance, for IT, cybersecurity, for HR, for engineering, for what else? You name it and we have it. We have very many bridging programs. What I am associated with is known as the Job Search Workshop Program. What this is, it is funded by IRCC, which is Immigration Canada, and in this program, we help newcomers, PR holders, not job, if you have a work permit, that doesn't work, you have to be a PR holder. So we help PR holders find a job, but we prepare you. We take 5 days in which we prepare you, right from analyzing a job posting to preparing your resume, your cover letter, interview skills, embellishing your LinkedIn profile, how to network, who to network with. We have organizations like the Tribe Mentoring Partnership with Sandip and Basab are partners with us, and they mentor newcomers to better job search in Canada. Okay, so we have a lot of programs and resources for newcomers. So if you are looking for a job, I think Acces is, should I say, the best? Yeah, Acces is the best place to go to. We do a great job. We are #1, and we are not #1 for nothing. So we do a lot. We help people a lot. There are many programs that we have for newcomers. So I would like to see all of you there, and we'll be absolutely glad to help all of you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica Di. And how can they contact you? How can they get your business card or the website? What is your best way to contact?
Sure. One is you can go to our website, www.accessemployment.ca, and you can go to our website and see what we are. Also, I have only a few cards today. I could give you my card, but the other thing is you can just go mganguly@accessemployment.ca. You'll see me. Okay?
Thank you, Monica Di. So, continuing our journey for the symposium, we have among us Baishakhi Roy. She is a freelance journalist based in Oakville. Her work has been published in several Canadian media outlets, including the Global Mail, Toronto Live, New Canadian Media, various Toronto Star publications, Huffington Post Canada, Chatterjee, Broadview, and CBC. Her areas of interest and expertise lie in the intersections of immigrant life and culture in Canada. She's also an avid Bollywood fan and co-hosts the Hindi language podcast khabardarpodcast.com. Today, it's our pleasure to welcome Baishakhi Roy to be the official moderator amongst our panelists, and she'll be introducing our distinguished panelists here and take questions from the audience and question our panelists. Again, my name is Pritam. I'll be handing over to Baishakhi. Got it, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Pritam. And thank you, Purbayan, for thinking of me. Thank you, Sandip, for thinking of me. Without further ado, because I think you all want to, we'd rather hear from all of our esteemed panelists here. We have a great lineup of professionals and experts in their field who, as they say, came, saw, and conquered in Canada. They're not only at the top of their game professionally, but they've also gone out of their way. They've contributed to the larger community by lending their time and expertise to coach and mentor newcomers like yourselves, who've come to Canada to begin their own immigrant journey. So they're here to share their expertise. I would urge you all to take notes, listen, and if you have any questions at the end of the session, they're here to answer your questions. So it's my pleasure to introduce all of you to our esteemed panelists. I'm just going to read off. Okay. Dr. Sutama Ghosh, right here, is an associate professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies at the Toronto Metropolitan, formerly Ryerson University. Sutama has served as the undergraduate program director for the Department of Geography at TMU for 8 years. And in addition to that, she is cross-appointed as a graduate faculty at the University of Toronto, supervising doctoral students. She came to Canada from India in 1999 as an international student to pursue her doctoral degree at York University. And her major research focus is on the migration and settlement geographies of immigrants and refugees to Canada. So welcome, Shutamadi. Sandip Chaudhury, right here next to me. He is an international corporate leader with 25 plus years of experience in working with major multinational organizations in various industries and roles. He is an empowering servant leader. Servant leader. Just want to double check. A diversity champion and an effective coach with a proven record for successful involvement in businesses and community-based initiatives. At present, Sandip is the head of customer growth and international in HSBC Bank Canada, and he focuses on newcomer and multicultural segments. Next is Soumak Chatterjee, right there. He is a partner with Deloitte's financial services team in Toronto. He leads the firm's consulting relationship at 2 large Canadian financial service accounts. He is also a senior leader within Deloitte's global payments and crypto practice, leading a team of more than 200 people in Canada. And he has over a decade of consulting experience. He also was an international student when he came at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto, and he completed his MBA in 2010. And that was his first foreign trip, which is amazing. Basab Goswami is a mechanical engineer, MBA, and a Six Sigma Black Belt. He has years of experience in various automotive manufacturing functions, and outside of his professional area of work, he volunteers for TRIAC, which mentors new immigrants and contributes with educational program development at the Program Advisory Council of Sheridan College. Then we have Mr. Debkanti Majumder. He is an executive with IBM Business Transformation Services, and he leads IBM's Oracle HCM Cloud and PeopleSoft practice in Canada. He has over 25 years of combined IT and business experience, and he has also successfully led business transformation engagements with budgets of more than $100 million, and is a strategic leader on his clients' steering committees. I can go on and on. But if you check out their LinkedIn profiles, you can get their whole, their list of achievements, the great stuff that they have done, the way they started their lives in Canada, professional lives in Canada. There's a record of all that online. So I hope you do check it out because it is worth it. I'm going to dive straight into it and start off by asking, when you look back at so many years of such great work and such amazing careers in Canada, what is the one thing that you felt helped you reach where you are today? Starting with you. Yeah.
Well, I came here in 2005, and fortunately, those days it was a little rare. I came here with a job, but that job didn't last very long. There was a layoff, and I was on the street, so therefore I know how it could be challenging. But those challenges are far reduced these days. We see the Express Entry program with skilled people coming in, and their skills are being acknowledged. In our time, if you are an engineer, you want to get into the job market, it was pretty challenging. So I say that there are 3 levels that an immigrant has to go through. One, that they come here and face the situation of unemployment. Then they get into the process of finding a job, and any job, put food on the table. So then they get, which is underemployment. So their skill levels are at one place, but they find a job, survival job. Many people, unfortunately, do 2, 3 those kind of jobs, and they fail to attain the one that they actually want to do. Therefore, you see, unfortunately, we see taxi drivers with engineering background doing these jobs. I've seen them. But the next thing is gainful employment. That's what everybody wants when you are here. It's a pretty costly country, and everybody wants to achieve, and that is possible. So I went through the same situation. I faced the recession, the Great Recession in 2008-9. I got laid off. But what I did at that point of time was to make myself prepare better, because recessions don't stay forever. There are actions that are taken, and this is relevant now because we are in that kind of a situation today. So upgrade yourself, network, try and connect with as many people as you can, which I did, and it helped. So networking is not just going and having a drink or having a coffee or things like that. There are professional platforms where you can go. Like if you're an engineer, you can go and join very easily, forums that you have for engineers. Or even in Mississauga, you have something like Happen. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, but Happen is a very good place where you can go and meet people who are important, who can help you out. And Baishakhi, you stop me if I'm going over.
No, I will, yes. There's a hand signal.
So because if you start speaking, there's a lot. And I also got myself, the Six Sigma black belt that I did it in this country, not in India. And what happens in the industry, especially in the automotive industry, it's very cutthroat. So you deliver, you survive, you do not, you are out of the game. So, not probably so bad in other industries, anyhow. So when I started off in the automotive industry, I thought that I qualify myself. So that is, at that point, I did my black belt project, and I worked in the top 3 tier 1 companies, one of them. I did it, and then eventually I got my certification. That helped. You create a niche for yourself. You become a little special at that point of time. Not too many people have this. So those kind of strategies worked for me, and I guess it can work for others.
Excellent. I'm going to, because we have to sort of keep it a little brief, but that's great. Shutamati has to leave because she's in charge of some other activities at the pujo. So I'm going to go to you next. If you could quickly tell us, also just tell us in your particular field of expertise, we spoke about retraining skills and things like that help newcomers. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I'm going to only talk about retraining and why is it important. So we all know from our own experiences, and you're reading in the newspapers all the time, that the qualifications that you come in with are often not recognized. So what do you do then? Should you go to the university? Should you go to college? If you go to college, what kind of colleges should you go to? I strongly recommend that you try and retrain in an area of expertise that you already have studied. So, for example, if you're an engineer, don't go for dentistry. Try to go for and no matter how cheap that private college is offering, the tuitions are, don't go for that kind of marketing, etc. So I would suggest that do your research, and you can always come and contact us. From Purbayan, especially Sandip, you will get my name, my number. Please just send me an email. I am here for you. I will speak to you based on my experience and try to guide you to a good school or a college, that specializes in what you're looking for. I hope that helps. And other than that, networking, as Bashota said. Okay? Thanks for that.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So, it's not just about retraining, but also about continuous training and evergreening yourself. So, if, let's say, you have an MBA, so you have a master's degree, say Soumak's got an MBA from Rotman's here, I've got an MBA from Rotman's, and I've got an MBA from Boston University. But so we have got master's degrees in this continent, but the journey doesn't stop there. You should continue to say, okay, do I go for an ITIL certification if that's of interest? Do I go for a PMP or a PGMP, or do I go for a Six Sigma Black Belt? Do I go for a Scrum Master? Do I go get myself acclaim badges? These professional credentials that it builds up your street cred, so to say. It signals that yes, I am invested in myself, I am investing in myself, I am growing myself, I'm not letting myself stagnate. It sends the right signals to people that makes them interested in you. So continuously invest in yourself and train yourself to keep yourself fresh.
That's great. That's a great tip. Soumak, would you want to weigh in on what is the one thing on the same question?
Yeah, so I think Sutama mentioned a couple of things. I think it starts with the view I say is acceptance, which is your degree in India or wherever you have come from isn't worth as much as you think it is. So I think that acceptance for me took 6 months. Like where I felt I knew everything but nobody was giving me the importance that I thought I deserved. So I think there's a bit of like mental preparation around accepting that you're in a new place and in a new culture and understanding what that means to you. So that's one. I had the honor of, like you mentioned, graduating into the last recession, where a month after I landed in this country, after leaving a quite comfortable job and life back home, Lehman Brothers decided to go bankrupt. So my fancy plans of Canada didn't start off very well. And I thought that was the stupidest decision of my life coming here. Persistence is the second one, right? Like you have to be persistent and believe that what you came for here is possible. There will be hardship. You are coming to a new country. Most of us don't have a big network here. We are not in the place where we have parents and like friends who we have grown up with. So all of those are new starts. Persistence matters. Like keeping at it, keeping the belief, keeping the knowing that you'll have to work hard is important. And I'll end with the third one. You asked me one, I'll give three. Is excellence. I think being the best at what you do or trying to be your best at whatever field you are is never a substitute for anything. Like you have to do that well. Like you have to do it better, especially if the next person next to you who are going to enter that interview room is going to be a native Canadian who's grown up here. You have to be 20% better than that person.
Easily.
Yeah.
Right? That's the point. Somebody asked me in my last interview at Deloitte, why should I hire you when there are 15 different people who have grown up here? I was so mad at that point of getting that question. I told the interviewer, you'll be hiring the second best person for them. So anyway, I think like the point is acceptance, persistence, and excellence. And if you think of those three things, I think it makes it easier. It will still take time. This is not pixie dust.
Right. Now this point of yours resonates so much because when I immigrated to Canada, I had 10 to 15 years of experience as a journalist, came to the Torstar group and was told to start as an unpaid intern. They said they'll pay my travel. That's it, $120 a month. So all your seasoned journalists, 10 years, Indian Express is out of the window, but it took me a minute to feel whatever I felt, then acceptance, and then you're like, you know what? I'll do it. And then I took on they were launching a lifestyle bridal show. I've never done bridal in my entire life. I did it. We launched it within 3 months. I was online editor for the Torstar group. So change in attitude, I feel, huge point. So thank you for that,
and
Shundipta.
just to add to that,
Yes.
it's like Soumak or your experience, these
Yeah.
are not isolated things. Like
Exactly.
the very first job that I interviewed for and got in the US, I was basically told that you're not quite that good of a fit.
Yeah.
So before I left, I said, you're making the biggest mistake of your life, because similarly, exactly those words, it's like you're going to hire a second best candidate. I got a call the next day to say, you know what, I'm going to hire you because nobody else came across that boat.
Yeah.
So yes, believe in yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Shundipta, you want to weigh in? Same question. What is one thing that you think worked for you?
No, I think it's what Soumak touched upon. I think other than everything else, like believing in yourself, I believe that self-discovery is a very, very critical piece in this journey.
True.
Especially if you're someone who has accomplished, and according to you, you believe that you have accomplished, and that's the reason most of the immigrants believe that, right? Because that's the biggest risk you have taken in your life.
Yeah.
When you thought that you were very successful, that's when you left everything and you took a decision. So obviously you believe that you are very good,
Absolutely.
right? And that's when you come in, you are changing not just a country, you are changing the demography, the ecosystem, everything changes. Which means you are into a territory which is not known to you at all. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think self-discovery is very critical and important, because most of us, and unlike maybe Soumak Debkanti and Majumder, who all are from technical background. If you're from a general management skill set, which I come from, it becomes much more difficult because this country is a specialist country.
Yeah.
So you can imagine when specialists like them, who are coming from technical fields, engineering is engineering at the end of it, right? So even in that, if they're facing that issue, then when you are a general management guy, whose main skill set is to sell or do marketing or do business development or do something else, where are you? You are nowhere. The reason being that you are entering into a completely new territory. So self-discovery becomes very important if you're a general management person, to understand what exactly can you do really well. Marrying that to the demand and understanding, to Sutama's point, understanding what is the right thing for you to do. If it is about getting some certification and some courses done, which certification is what is the most important piece? Because for general management skill set, people, it's very difficult for them to even say what are the top 3 skill sets they bring. Because over a period of time, and especially if you're coming from Asia, the only thing that you do is people management. Everybody talks about how many people they manage. But that's not exactly what people are looking for when you're looked into as a general management. So I think self-discovery is a very critical piece, and understanding that this journey, and I always give this analogy, it's like entering an igloo. You cannot really enter an igloo standing tall, right? You have to bend down. But that bending down is strategic, and that bending down is only for a shorter period of time. And that's where resilience comes in. Because that belief in yourself, which Soumak was talking about, and the resilience to know that even if I have to bend down, I'm bending it down strategically so that I can get up again. And in that whole process, understanding your top skill sets to understand what do you really bring on the table is very important, especially if you're not a technical person.
Right. So that's the perfect segue into what I was going to ask next about what is the skill set that you think as professionals and experts and veterans in your field almost now, that this current economy demands of newcomers coming to Canada. Baishakhi, starting with you, could you shed some light, on the sort of economic impacts, like we were talking about, on the manufacturing or the auto industry? And is it tough to get a foot in the door? What's the outlook like? What does one need to have?
So in the auto industry, we are expecting, and we are already on that path, a lot of changes. So we are looking at alternative fuels, especially the fossil fuels. The life is very short. Just to let you have an idea, just to let you have an idea, not many people are aware of the fact that the manufacturing industry consumes 54% of the power that is generated in Canada, and about the pollution is about 20%, which is generated from the manufacturing industry. So we talk about building cars which should be fuel, not fuel efficient, but not meeting EPA or ECCC requirement, which is the emission requirement, but that life has been shortened. So by 2035, there will be no car registered over here, no new car will be registered over here which has fossil fuel in it. And 35 is about 10 years. So what's the short-term target? By 2026, they want to achieve 20% of all new cars registered in the country should be, as they call it, zero emission vehicles, ZEVs. So if you are 26 is not far, 3 years from now, and if you want to have 20% of them as zero emission vehicles by 2026, by 2030, the target is 60% in just about 4 years.
Right.
And then when you go to 2035, they want all new cars registered over here. So that has to be 100%. So legacy will be allowed. So if you have an old car, which is a fossil fuel engine working for you, they will be allowed, but we yet do not know when there will be a line drawn in front of them. Oil sector has huge concerns. They are very powerful. But these plans are going to stick there. We don't know what happens if another government comes and all that. So work is going on in a huge pace. The company where I work, we have scrapped any design development of diesel engines. No diesel engines are going to be made because we have to meet these requirements. And 2026 requirement is not easy. 2024 itself is going to be tough. This is an indication that people who will be employed will have to be of a different skill set. So if you can find those kind of people, and people is very, very important. See, the 4 P's in manufacturing, the most important P is that of people. So people's skills and their ability to innovate, and that is why when Debkanti said that your continuous learning is important. So what comes down the pipeline, you yet do not 100% know, but you know where we are going. So equip yourself. People are talking about sustainability in production. So, you know, your carbon footprint is the big word now that everybody is trying to do. Your manufacturing unit or your vendor's manufacturing unit is being audited, and we want to see how better we can do. There could be changes in materials, changes in geometric shapes, changes in logistics, all such things. So you want to see a vendor who's today in China, for example, and you see what is the alternative if I go to Slovakia, for example. So what are the benefits, and people are seeing that there may be certain cost enhancements, but the achievement towards the carbon footprint is what leads them to their target of 2026 or 2030 and eventually 2035. So this is a topic which is very interesting. You can go online and you can study it, and it'll be interesting if there are any engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, your engine background people. You start preparing and, you know, pull up your socks and start running. You have a direction there, that where we are going to go. So prepare yourself in line with these requirements, these tips that I have given you. Not good enough time, but this is major, important.
Thank you for that. I wish we could talk more about that, really. It was getting very interesting. But Debkanti, how challenging is it to get into the IT sector in Canada, and what can one do to sort of kickstart and flourish in this country? Give us a brief outlook of what's happening.
So the Canadian IT sector, right now, I'd say on one hand, it's the best time to be in IT. On the other hand, it's challenging. And why do I say that? Change is constant. Actually, change is not constant. Change is accelerating. And it's accelerating nowhere as fast as in IT. If you think about the IT landscape, like the buzzwords of artificial intelligence and machine learning and blockchain, that kind of like were on the periphery even 2-3 years ago, these are mainstream now. Like the other day, like I do a lot of work with utilities, okay? Because utilities nowadays, they're trying to squeeze every gigajoules and every kilowatt hour out of their grid, because ZEVs and BEVs are putting a tremendous amount of pressure on electrical grids. And like as Mark Carney said, over the next couple of decades, we are going to invest, say, $100 trillion in electrical grids, and in the meantime, we have to bridge that gap somehow while we are working to ramp up capacity, right? So the other day, I was talking with a client of ours, and we are piloting a program where we are using machine learning and AI to optimize smart meter-based power consumption. Like 3 years ago, this is like, okay, let's write a science fiction book on this. Today, we're doing it. That's reality. We are working with educational institutes like, say, York or University of Alberta, where we are using AI to predict at-risk students and proactively match them with the proper counseling initiatives. We are using IBM Watson in a lot of different companies to use AI to identify high growth potential employees, high risk of departure employees, and also employees who are at risk of underperforming. So a lot of this is going on. So the net of it is there are tremendous opportunities in IT today. You have to position yourself properly. It's not so much as the yesteryears of I know Java, so let's go look at an IT job. Today the skills are different. You need to be conversant about the new things. Like I said, AI, machine learning, and blockchain. These are the three hyper growth areas of IT. But there are so many great opportunities, and IT is one area where it's going to be, it's just going to keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
So you do have to stay current. You have to, it brings
Absolutely.
back your point of constantly retraining and keeping up. Right.
Just
So-
to add one more thing on what
Sure.
what Debkanti said. You know, AI or machine learning is now getting built into design. So you start off with your design level, and you go to Six Sigma language, the DMAIC. It starts there, and it goes down to the process. So AI, so it's not an operator who decides on what the different inputs, let us say feed speed of a CNC machine, is not determined by them. Or sometimes if there is a quality issue, it is not inspected by people. You have cameras, you have sensors which senses an error, and for example, if you have got 3 consecutive errors, machine shuts down by itself. So one operator may run 4 machines together. So application of AI, like Debkanti said, is huge. As I said, starting from design, going down to the process, and to logistics with the supply chain situation that we have today. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Shomukta, you came to Canada. We were talking about it as an international student, and you know one here. A lot of newcomers are in the same boat. You mentioned that you graduated in the 2009-2010 recession, so that was a challenging time to sort of enter the job market. Here we are again, post-pandemic. A lot of people struggling for jobs, struggling for gainful employment. What would your advice be to such?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no rosy words around it. Like, it is hard. The marketplace is changing. It's not as bad as 2009-10 yet. I think the COVID crisis, the early days, was a bit like that. But I feel like, but we are all in a situation right now where everybody is being conservative. So you're going to have less openings. People are going to hire specifically for needs versus hiring first and thinking demand will come to them. I'm talking from a consulting standpoint. So I think it is going to be a bit of a constricted job market, constrained job market going forward. I think the views are still the same. One is, I have found in times of constraint, being adaptable and not being so tight that I only want to do AI job in manufacturing, right? Like that is super narrow. There's like 4 jobs, right? Like go for a certain breadth. Be flexible, knowing that this won't be your last job. Like you can train. Important is to make sure you can put food on the table, take care of your family, and then have a footprint from where you can grow. I think that's one fundamental. Like, I was interviewing for a data entry job at Mount Sinai when Deloitte called me for my second round interviews. Like, that was reality, and I was doing it because I needed money to buy food. But I think being adaptable is one. If you have a bit of runway where you have some time that you don't need to unnecessarily stress over your situation, it's actually a good time to do some retraining, retooling, which everybody off here has said, right? Like, find that opportunity to make yourself a little bit better, a little bit more tuned towards what the job market is. Be strategic around where you believe demand is going to be, like data, AI, what industries are going through disruption.
Right.
Like vehicle, like the entire industry around automotives is going through a disruption. Financial services is going through a disruption. So understanding those pockets, and rather than carpet bombing everybody you want to meet, be very specific on who you want. You still know that every 10 emails you write, you'll get one answer. So that still applies, but at least making sure you're addressing your search to where you want to work and being a bit precise on it should be helpful.
Right. Sandip, you've had a flourishing career in financial services. What is the difference between the industry as you see it there, back in India, and here in Canada? And what are some must-have skills that newcomers wishing for a financial career?
I think the most important piece is that this is a do-it-yourself country. Where we come from, in a very short period of time, you become people manager, as I mentioned, in any field, and financial services is a part of that. That's a part of the world where sales means something else. Here, sales means something completely different. Relationship building, your knowledge skills, your knowledge levels are very important, because at the end of it, a ticket size, if you're a relationship manager back home, you're probably managing a ticket size of $1 lakh of rupees, whereas here you're managing 100,000 minimum dollars. So the stakes are very different. So the approach is very different, and because there are so many number of customers, you are running behind numbers. Here it is more width, it's more depth than width. So I think the most important piece is, because it's a do-it-yourself country, upscaling yourself to understand the market, understand the subject matter, because this is also a very regulated country. So understanding which program or which, as I said in the beginning, what is your real skill set, what can you really do well, and then based on that, chalking your career is very important. There are also quite a few number of, even within financial services, there are quite a few different streams which back home is not available. For example, in India, we have home loan sales. Home loan sales is a part of sales within banking. Whereas here, if you look at mortgages, that whole industry is a parallel industry to banking. It's not required that all mortgages are done by banks. It's not. So it's a completely different industry altogether, and it gives you a scope of flourishing your career throughout your entire life in that mortgage field by itself. So understanding that is very important, that where exactly is your niche. For example, when I came in, I had experience in sales and marketing, but I was also a branch manager back home. So the automatic choice would have been to move into branch banking, but that's not what I really wanted to do, because that was not my top skill set. The branch banking in India was more of a people management piece and more of a sales and business development piece. I loved that. So I stick to that in terms of my career here, and stuck to the marketing sales part and business development part and took it up. Whereas if you are somebody from a B2C background, business to customer background, then it's better to do your research to find out what exactly are the departments within financial services. A lot of people do not know there are 89 banks and financial services in Canada. 89. People talk only about big 5, but there are actually 89 of them. And then if you look at what subsets of careers are available, depending on your niche, then you can choose that and then go. In India, it is more like, everybody is running into the same boat, and it's more like a machine, of so many people. So it's very different from those two aspects.
Right. I'm wondering if we could, should we open up?
Yeah, I think so.
So if you've heard our panelists, and if there's any questions that you'd like to address one or more of our panelists, please, this is the time to do so. So any questions from the audience? Would you like to begin? Yep. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Utshar Abbani. I'm a student out here. I'm currently pursuing my postgraduate diploma in IT solutions at Humber College. My question to all of you is, since you mentioned about employment and jobs, so for someone like me, I'm currently looking for internship opportunities. So what would be your advice in that aspect? What should I do?
So for internship opportunities, like you've connected with your school's placement office, of course, that's the place to start with. And then also, like networking is a must, as I think every one of us said, right? So participate in various forums, like say Purbayan is a forum. There are other community forums in the Bengali community itself, like there's Bongo Poribar, there is the, say, Bengali drama group, where you can meet people, and you have to know what is it that you want to do, what is it that you're good at, and what you want, right? Don't be shy about it, go ask, right? You can ask me directly, it's like, hey, does IBM take interns? Unfortunately, we don't, but then ask Soumak, does Deloitte take interns? Ask Basab, do they take interns? Just don't be shy about it. Like you have heard from, say, Soumak and myself, where we didn't feel an interview go well and we said, you're making a mistake about this. So just don't be shy about it, because you have to be your best advocate. So look at, like, participate in the workshops that your college will have. Participate in a workshop that somebody like Monica's Acces Employment can offer, right? To see what are the avenues open for you, and you'll hear the same themes again, that you have to be focused, you can't be shy about it, you have to persevere on this thing and go for it.
So does your college have that kind of a service like Debkanti mentioned?
It depends on the course which you're taking. So the course which I am currently enrolled in doesn't have a co-op program.
So the college will not assist you?
No, the college won't assist. I have to search it out myself.
Yeah, so I would go and say start by the search, right? Search for summer internship postings. Most larger companies have postings that are open to any student from any college to apply, right? So bigger organizations like Deloitte run specific programs for the large universities, and then we have postings that are open for anyone to apply. Those resumes end up in the same place. So point one is applying, knowing where the jobs are, who are hiring, networking, as you said, like that cannot be understated, and then try to make connections with the institutions where you believe like there is an opportunity for you to have a job, and try to find people who would be able to like tell you about those. I think those are the things that we have to do. This year is going to be again like 2009, 2010, a little bit of a constricted market, so there will be less there, which means you have to do a little more. You have to create more volume, like have more applications to go through. Just try a little bit more to meet a few more people in these places. You had a question.
Question ওকে জিজ্ঞেস করা আছে তো ও কি ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং করছে
IT Solutions at Humber College. IT Solutions at Humber College. He's 4 months in the country.
ওকে ওকে আমাদের যদি কাউকে চিনিস তোরা এসএলসিতে এখন প্রচুর হায়ার করছে নট আইটি it's related to core engineering তো
SNC level
হ্যাঁ ইলেকট্রিক্যাল and they are hiring শুধু এসএনসি না মানে তুই যদি পাওয়ার ফিল্ডে দেখিস they are hiring a lot মানে ফ্রেন্ডজিতে আছে লোক নেই
right so find maybe those areas and you'll know it by talking to folks like where the demand is and then focus on a bit of your research there.
Are there some particular
You take the mic here, see? So here's how the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon goes on this. That you just heard that networking is good. Networking is table stakes, basically, right? You just heard somebody say, I was saying a little while ago, Mark Carney said $100 trillion over the next decade in the power sector. Should it just say that power sector is exploding? You have 2 power sector people sitting right here in this room. There's Sudip here, right on your left, there's person here. Connect.
Because they will know people probably who are relevant to what probably he's looking for. But what I wanted to ask is, do you all have, do you recommend particular platforms? Like where does this process begin? Like how does he start? Because it's pretty overwhelming to just...
It is pretty overwhelming. I think Monica, this is a good start, I would say.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people benefit from platforms like it.
Yes.
Right, like they have possibly the widest view.
That's Acces Employment, yeah.
Yeah, so like you heard the contact at the start,
Yeah.
but like they have the widest view of the market, so can possibly direct you to these areas where they know that demands and postings are there. Like those are a good start, but then you get the access to a lot, and then you top up by doing your individual connections and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like you add go to happen.
Yeah, to add to that, I think also very important is that what we have always seen, and the reason why we created this platform, like Purbayan's creating this platform was not a part of our original plan of Chaudhury, right? The reason we created this is that what we sometimes unconsciously we do not know that there are in this room right now, and I'm not even including people who are outside. You would probably have 50 internship opportunities in this place right now. The question is of getting those people at the right spot, and then after that, all matters is to go and speak to each one of them to understand. As Soumak mentioned, out of 10, maybe 1 would be your right contact. But the point is to get those 10 people in one room is the bigger challenge. And the reason why we believe that this is something that we would love to do is because we suddenly saw that if we just simply bring Purbayan's members together, we have a big, platform of people who can help somebody like you. And if we 10 years back or 20 years back would have got somebody like this, would have helped us. And that's the only reason why we're doing this, right? It's like giving back. So just reach out and talk to those people and figure it out. And because at the end of it, as I said, remember one thing, because you're so new in this country, this is the do-it-yourself country. We are used to coming from a country where jobs are searched by recruiters. I used to get calls from recruiters every day. I should tell them don't call. In the last 15 years, I have not received any call from any recruiter in this country. That's the reality. So you have to do that research of yours by yourself to understand, okay, this is my program. I have to do internship. What are the top 3 places where I can do an internship? What are those top 3 industries? Do I know anybody in those top 3 industries? Yes, Acces Employment can help you, but that research has to be done by you. That research you have to do to say, okay, my program is this, these are the top 3 things that I might be able to do. Best is this, worst is this. In those 3 industries, who are the people that I might know of? Is there somebody that I can connect in this room who has, again, in their LinkedIn connection, some more people who are from that industry? And then reaching out to say, by the way, Sandip, do you know Prasenjit? That's the connection that you probably have to make. That's where the rubber needs to hit the road.
And Debkanti said, you should be your own advocate.
Yeah.
So nobody will help you.
Yeah,
that's
what I know.
One thing I can add here, there's another.
Can you give me so that I can hear you?
One thing I can add is there is another way of doing the networking. Is if you go online, and there are several. If you go on LinkedIn, or there are different sites where you can see meetup groups. Right? There are lots of meetup groups. There are like some virtual, some in person. Like during COVID, everything kind of became virtual, but the in-person meetups are starting again. There are several websites you can go into, and you can sign up. Maybe somewhere in Toronto, like you have to commute a little bit, but you can go there and you will be seeing, like, you can search for like IT meetup groups or whatever fields you're interested in. Go there, talk with people, and you will find a lot of good connections there. I can suggest that.
I just would like to add something here.
A lot is being said about Acces here, which is great. I love hearing about Acces. Networking, that's something that we really capitalize on. We keep telling people that networking is something that you have to do. It's just, the way Canada works. Acces, we ourselves, we have many networking opportunities that we provide to our clients. One of them is speed mentoring, where you sit across someone who is in your field and you get the opportunity to speak with them for about 10 minutes, and it's like speed dating. And then you move over to the next person and so on. So this goes on, that's one of them. The other is the Triac Mentoring Partnership. That's a big one. We connect you with people in Triac. So just network, or whatever. I've been listening, and this is pearls of wisdom for me too, to take back when I go into my own training sessions on February 6th. It's whatever they're saying is priceless. You're getting pearls of wisdom, you're getting so much. Take it with you and do your best you can.
I'll connect with him in LinkedIn and I'll help him.
There you go.
Awesome.
It's right next to you. Do you know each other?
No,
oh, there you go.
That's wonderful. No, I mean, my company is a new startup, 6,000 plus company, but again looking for a lot of internship programs, so I think I can help him. Same in IT.
It's the perfect place to start an internship.
There you go.
Because we have people and we want to connect with you so that they can get jobs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'll give you my card.
We are on a growth track, so looking
okay. Awesome.
for all the areas. Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful. Does anybody else want to? Yes. Absolutely. Let me get your mic. Just introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Priyanka. I would like to mention that I was in the same boat like his. I didn't come as a student. I just accompanied my husband to Canada. So initially I had no job. I had like 5 years of working experience in India, and then I came on open work permit, like with no job. So the first 2-3 months were good because I wasn't actually searching for job then. I was just like exploring the country, and then then I started volunteering with an organization. There's a website called volunteer.ca where there will come across many organizations that offers volunteering options. So initially I started volunteering with that organization for 3 to 4 months, and my search didn't end here. I finally got a contractual opportunity with CIBC. That too, like we came in the end of 2018, and I got my first job somewhere like in the middle of 2019. So that was initially a contract, and I worked for 2 to 3 more contracts, and finally then I got my like first full-time job. So I'd also like to mention the kind of field I am in. Like I work for the learning and development team of companies. So you should be always ready with the prerequisites that you need for your interview. For my interview, a portfolio was a must. So and a good resume is what attracts the recruiters. And I think LinkedIn is the best networking site that you have in Canada.
Absolutely.
Thank
Very
you.
good points. Yes. Anybody else have a question for our panelists?
No, I think we are good, but I just wanted to have some more details about happened that you spoke about. How do we?
Okay, so if you go happen.ca,
Okay.
and depending on which city you live, I know there is one such forum that happens in Mississauga, and Monica definitely knows about it, I'm sure. So just do happen.ca and you will find. And there are people with good experience who come there, and they look for such beginners, newcomers to this country. So can't say matchmaking, but opportunities do come up. Yeah.
Here's another way you can connect with lots of a diverse group of people. So do you know how Basab and I met? We were both volunteering for the campaign of our local MP. Okay. And participating in the volunteering program for your local MP or local MPP, it's a great way to meet motivated people with initiative. Because these are already people who want to get involved in how the country is run. These are exactly the kind of people that you want to connect with. So get involved.
But see, I didn't know him, although he's from the same institution where I did my engineering.
Yeah, he graduated before I did. Actually, Majumder, Soumak, myself, Purbayan, we all graduated from the same engineering college back in India.
Yes. Yeah.
We didn't know, like none of us knew each other while we were there. There's some years apart, but yeah.
Another point just to add, I meet so many people for newcomer mentorship, right? I always tell them that it is good to be associated with your own community, like the way we are sitting all together, but it's absolutely important to get more involved in the Canadian mainstream volunteering opportunities. Because yes, our community is important, our own people are important, but at the end of it, we have all come here in a new country to set ourselves up. So what Debkanti just mentioned is an example of that. Volunteer in your food bank, volunteer for your city, volunteer for your MPP or MP, because that's where you see people who are not like you, somebody else, and that's where we want to succeed. We want to be what Soumak and Debkanti mentioned, the best candidate against those who are volunteering with you in those events, right? So it's very important.
Yeah, I think like that cultural integration point is a huge one. Like I felt I suffered a bit at the start by just being around Bengali or even Indian friends. And I would say if you argue back there, all the people out there, like a very small proportion, we actually have friends who are Canadian. And this is one of my pet peeves, which I try to tell everybody, that there is a bit of business which is also social. Like when somebody says God down you and he like what happened, I had no clue of who that person was, and I'm ashamed of saying that because I didn't do the right thing. But you have to understand the cultural dimension here is different, and you have to be part of that. Whichever industry you're working at, whichever people you're working with, find the best way to gain that. Like that cannot be forced often. Like I cannot tell you go and make some local friends. It's weird. I had the benefit of being part of Rotman, which was predominantly a place where 40% was Canadian, and then another 40 was international, and then a bunch of like different cultures and communities. So I had the benefit of that. Not many are going to have that benefit if you come in directly and don't have a network. But start with volunteering. Start with ways you can get to know some locals and be part of understanding their culture. It cannot be understated how important it is.
Like I see with a family and with a kid, my latest contact for Toronto Life, the piece that I wrote for, I met the editor through the Girl Guides of Canada, which I volunteer for with my daughter. My daughter has been part of the Girl Guides since grade 2. So you just meet so many interesting people who might not be even from your field of interest, but they know somebody said, oh, are you into this? I have a friend who's into this, let me connect you. And boom, when that line is dropped, let me connect you, follow up, follow up, follow up. Don't just let that go. Am I right?
So if you have a daughter, Girl Guides. If you have a son, Boy Scouts. Enroll your kids into soccer clubs.
Yes.
Take them to play hockey.
Yes.
Get involved in organizing pee-wee hockey or pee-wee soccer or rep soccer or whatever things like that. Because there, you are meeting people who are interested in doing something that you like, but they're not like you. So you have to expand, you have to integrate, right? Like get to know why do Canadians like Tim Hortons? What's so special about Timmy's? And what's about Gord Downey, and what's the craziness about hockey? When did the Maple Leafs last win the Stanley Cup? You gotta know that, you are in Toronto.
Yeah, because you will be talking about these points, whenever you join. And one other thing about volunteering, I say, I am an ardent volunteer. I'm 61 and I still volunteer. Bekar ka kaam, but I still do. I love doing it. I give it back to the community. Two of my boys, they also volunteer, and they go to places where they make food for homeless people, for example. I mean, who are you connecting over there? So volunteering breeds in some value within you, I think, which I didn't have before I came to this country, and I therefore still volunteer. I'm sorry, I've extended.
Oh no, absolutely.
Here to graduate high school, you need volunteer hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when Sandip's profile was being read, you heard the term servant leader.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because to lead, you have to serve the people.
Correct.
Well, on that note, I think we'll have to wrap up our session. And I hope everyone's taken something from this session. If you have any specific questions, please mingle. Bhog is going to be served soon, so please mingle over that as well. And again, thank you everybody for participating in this. Thank you, Sandip, for getting us all together and for inviting me to do this. I, as usual, come away inspired like the way I was when I first stepped into this country, and it is all because of wonderful people like you. Thank you, and happy Saraswati Puja to everybody. Please feel free to mingle and talk and take this forward. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.